Aotearoa, New Zealand is famous for its stunning landscapes and outdoor lifestyle. Nature is inherently inclusive, but some of our culture surrounding it is not.
False beliefs, negative perceptions, and a lack of support and education mean that some people who menstruate don't get to enjoy Papatūānuku and all she has to offer.
This series will explore why some people have struggled with their period in the outdoors and provide practical tools on how to change this for the future, bringing mana back to the experience of menstruation.
There hasn't been anyone that said, "Hey, Ash, you're an outdoor educator. You should talk to your young people about menstruation." So I didn't know if I was allowed to talk about it. Periods have just been so taboo. I think there's just been this thing, because we don't talk about it, it becomes embarrassing or something we should be ashamed of. And that is not cool. This is a normal thing that we need to normalize for these young people. So we should easily be able to say, "Hey everyone, just want to let you know that I've got some period products in my first aid kit if anyone needs anything." And leave it at that. Being in the outdoors opens yourself up to more conversations that you wouldn't normally have in your everyday life. And so that creates this really unique environment and responsibility on outdoor educators to actually own that and then help these young people in opening up the space to have the chat that this is totally normal and here's how we're going to deal with it because we want to get our adventure on. If you are a person that wants to support someone who is having a period in the outdoors, I think some of the things you can do are 1, not make a big deal out of it, 2, acknowledge it, and 3, provide support. And so for me, support looks like either having products or just asking if they need something. Starting the conversation feels like the hard thing, but if you're on your period, be honest. Saying something is always better than not saying something. Breaking down that taboo that, periods. As an outdoor educator, one of the best things we can do to start that conversation is to talk about our group period kit. That would include things like tampons and having ones with applicators and ones without in various sizes, as well as pads. If you can have ones with wings, that would be really helpful for people that are getting really active. Also a Ziploc bag, and that's really great for putting used products in so we can keep the space more sanitary. I'd also definitely recommend hand sanitizer, and sometimes there's plastic gloves and some aspirin. And of course, lollies. Within the group period kit, we don't have things like moon cups or period underwear, and the reason is because those are reusable and really personal to each young person that menstruates. When planning multi-day trips, it's important to think about, number 1, toilets, and also that communication with the group that for the next 6 hours, we won't be by a toilet. If that's gonna be an issue for anyone, I've got some supplies with me that I'll be bringing along. And is there running water at those toilets? If not, can we carry enough water with us? Because having water is obviously gonna help with hygiene and also with moon cups, with cleaning them and being able to use them again. Just like you normally would when you're planning an outdoor trip, having plan Bs and plan Cs. Because when you get to a place, if it's really not working for that young person and they're having incredible period pain and you're not able to continue on, what is the plan B? The more we can recognize, not just like the period, but the emotions that go around it. Some days, you might be the top biker in the group or like the fastest runner, but man, sometimes during the month, you might just not feel like being that person. It would be so great if that wasn't like, oh, Sally's got her period this week. Like, that's why she's with the slow group. Like, oh my gosh, no big deal. Sally, you can be with any group you want. And also even just like, asking, what do you feel comfortable doing? Is this activity okay with you right now? Some people that menstruate will be absolutely fine going swimming, and others will definitely not want to go swimming. So I think it's the considerate, kind questions that you can ask to allow that person the space to make their own decisions with what they feel comfortable with. Being inclusive is what the outdoors is about. The outdoors is for everyone. If we've created that culture of being inclusive and not just tolerance, it's celebration of those things, then chatting about periods is like not that hard. 50% of the population menstruates, so this should not be a big deal for any of us, regardless of our gender.
Because physical activity is so much about your body, it's been highly gendered and separated based on sex. Even just hearing comments about the women are doing that and the men are doing that, when you don't fit into that binary framework of gender, those things can build up and make you maybe question where you belong or how you can participate, or just even prevent you from participating in the first place. As an educator, if this is difficult for you to talk about and facilitate, it probably means that it's really difficult for the person going through it as well. It takes a lot of groundwork to build that trust with your students, to show that you are a safe educator. You know, it's one thing to say that you can come to me to talk about anything and actually walking the talk. One of the things that we always talk about is when you introduce yourself, say your names and your pronouns as well. And that can just signal that you're aware, at least, that gender diversity is a thing.
My very first class at this new school, the teacher actually asked our pronouns, which was so lovely. At my old school, my health teacher basically delegated the education of rainbowness. They were like, okay, so what can you tell me about rainbow identities?
As people get older, they begin to explore their identities more, and they need to have like a source, not just on the internet or with their friends, being like, okay, this is what's going on. Having rainbow students is great, but it also be good for the teachers to kind of understand as well.
Yeah, not putting all the emotional labor on us.
You know, people are already struggling.
Yeah.
And it's not fair on people to just have it all on them to educate their classmates as well as their teachers.
Something I think that was really strange to me about hiking at school or outdoor activities at school is the way that teachers force you to do it alone. You know, like the mile run where you can't talk to your friends during it. I think that acknowledging that community is so important to make us feel not alone, because so often we are made to feel othered, we're made to feel like freaks. So I think that having access to community and not having that access shut off because of, I don't know, some ridiculous rule is so important.
My advice to leaders and educators is to be aware of your perception of periods and how comfortable you are with that subject, because our personal experiences and bias affect our leadership and our interaction with young people. Be okay with it being out there and spoken about. Be okay to be vulnerable and not have all the answers about the subject. Speak about it in your first session or your first briefing. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It's just the same as, this is where the track is. This is where you go if you need to change your pad.
We are in such a unique time where we have these amazing resources available to us as outdoor educators. So with great leadership, good communication, and an open environment, we absolutely have the power to break down these barriers for people that menstruate. I am so ready. Bring on the period.